Hey guys, so the question for today is what is missing from the news? Take a look. So I open my iPhone, and this is obviously mainstream media, and you have all of those newspapers who have clearly picked a side. Politico, the guy said he's going to do everything he can to get Trump out of office. So why are you even going to them for news? Because they've already picked a candidate, which means they're basically going to lie to get their guy in office. So completely worthless. Washington Post, I think on the morning of Trump's victory, they had 28 articles in that newspaper, all negative about Trump. Statistically, by the way, that's impossible. If you know someone who can't think of anything good that Trump did, or when you mention to them the civil rights issues that he's taken care of, the world peace he's negotiated, or the Nobel Peace Prizes he's been nominated for, and they go silent, this is not normal activity. You're supposed to say, hey, this guy did something good, but not when you're entrenched. And that's what we're dealing with, is an entrenched media. So let's just kind of play through this, right? So this is October 9th, and so I opened my phone up. USC's highest number of coronavirus cases since August. Now, obviously, if it was the highest number of deaths, we would have heard about that and with more data. But here's the thing. When you had so many headlines like this, it's like people scroll through this and it starts to program them. Let's just roll through this a little bit here. First story. Second story is COVID. Once again, COVID-19. All right. Still, what's missing? What's missing from the news? We're going to find out here in a second. All right. COVID-19 safeguards as Trump campaign restarts. Few COVID-19 safeguards as Trump restarts rallies. We got a negative, double negative there just in the title for the drive-by people, right? Few COVID-19 safeguards. Boy, it's time to get scared. Yeah, COVID's real, don't get me wrong, but it's just fear-mongering as Trump campaign restarts rallies. So it's like negative. He's starting his rallies. There's no safeguards. They're just programming. Politico, obviously this is the guy who vowed to do this. And so why are we surprised? Why is it on my phone? Why can't I get something that's a little unbiased on my phone? Oh, wait a second. Because 5 companies own all the media in America. So let's scroll down. Okay, Hurricane Delta. That's something that's not Trump. But then here we go. Derek Chauvin allowed to leave Minnesota as he awaits trial and death of George Floyd. Current events, they don't mention Trump, which I'm kind of surprised they didn't, because in this world, if it's not Trump's fault, it's not news, right? I mean, if a plane goes down in Indonesia, they're not going to report on that unless there's a part that was related to someone who touched something at one of Trump's places or knew somebody or did a deal. That are the Russians, okay? So group most likely to get COVID-19 is least likely to die from it. More zeros on politics. Let's divide everybody. Young people, yes, they survive because they also survived the flu. They also can probably survive an anthrax dump better than someone in their 70s, okay? Not wanting to discount what people have gone through with COVID. I've known people who've gotten it. Fortunately, I don't know anyone who's died, but I know people who did. And I know it's serious, but I'm talking about the fear-mongering and the blame. The blame is disgusting. Democrats wouldn't have done any better. They were trying to stop Trump when he was closing the borders. I mean, come on, man. That's just Trump's America is COVID. It's just total garbage. These guys, it's out of control. Okay, so now, I mean, how many articles have we scrolled down? And most of them are something to do with COVID, which, by the way, in polling, is the only issue that Americans think that Trump could have done better on. They didn't say that Biden would have done better, okay? They just feel like Trump could have done better. I personally believe that's because most people are misinformed. Short of a Chinese-style lockdown, which is unsustainable in this country, you're not going to get rid of COVID, and even then, I don't think you're going to get rid of it. I don't think they were telling the truth about their numbers, but that's a different subject. Diabetes drug recalled, then right next to it, Trump's falsehoods lead many to question news of his COVID-19 illness. So now this is another conspiracy. This is apologetic conspiracy stuff. Just by the title, I didn't read it. The story could be totally different, but it looks like they're apologizing for leftist conspiracy theories. It's okay. Don't apologize, man. You guys have had like 20 or 30 from him calling soldiers' name. It started with he called immigrants animals when he was talking about a gang in El Salvador, and then he called soldiers' names when he was talking about the military-industrial complex. I mean, it never ends, right? What's missing from the news this morning? Okay, so check this out. Eddie Van Halen endured a horrifying racist environment. ICE agents stopped a black jogger in Boston. There we have more inflammatory stuff right there, right? Double racism. Okay, that's fine though. That's news. They're not. I haven't clicked on the article. I mean, they may have put Trump in there. That one was about the store that called the police on George Floyd. Life's not easy for them. $20 bill, guy dies. That's not going to go well for anybody. For black working women, COVID-19 has been a heavy burden. More racial stratification, underlying anti-Trump tones. Like I say, it's the only issue. So you're going to hear nothing about anything else but COVID-19. You're definitely not going to hear about something else in the news during this time for some reason. Well, you'll hear about it a little bit, but it's missing a lot. Okay. Meet the solo protesters taking to the streets alone. Bloomberg's another person, hates Trump. Guy owns a newspaper. I mean, come on, guys. You can't expect to get fair news from these people. They hate the guy's guts. They've openly admitted it, and we know that they're not fair. So if you're believing their stories, what's wrong here? I mean, come on. All right, more coverage. Ideas to affect change and other resources. This is more of that buzzword change. Okay, change is not really what you're looking for. You're looking for progress, not progressive or regressive progress. You're looking to move forward. Okay, change for the sake of change is for low totem pole, low intelligence individuals. We don't just change stuff. Okay, flying soon. More COVID. Chris Christie still hospitalized with coronavirus. Okay, they want to take care of certain little tiny fish. Trump's Hannity interview was off the rails. It's Vox, another newspaper that has openly admitted they hate Trump, okay? So why is this why do people even read it? You already know what it's going to say. Why bother people? Because people believe this stuff, okay? And people don't know this. They don't know that these newspapers actually have admitted to having an agenda in one way or another. The owner of Politico, I don't even know his name. I can't think of it, actually. He openly said he's going to do everything he can to stop Trump. I mean, come on. What do you think he's going to publish? He's worthless for information. Once someone says that, worthless. Look at this. We're just now getting into to politics. Pelosi suspects Trump crazy enough to take her stimulus deal. That could be an interesting read. It's in the Wall Street Journal, Pinning the Republican who could help defeat Trump. Some other rhino Republican in name only crying into the media, The president is likely toast. Trump's woes and raise fears of the blue wave, okay? Fear, blue wave, Trump, bad man. This is really simpleton news. And it's endless. But here's the thing. When people read this stuff and it comes up on their phone, especially people who have not taken civics and they haven't taught a real civics course in probably 30 or 40 years, so that's almost everybody out there, who's under the age of 40, okay? And not saying there's a lot of sharp guys under the age of 40, don't get me wrong, but if you're not thinking on your own, you think this stuff's real. And there's enough people out there that think this is real. They're voting according to what these guys are saying. Okay, Newsweek, Ginsburg on the cover of Newsweek, a few other things we're rolling through here, not that secret societies covered in one of these things. And then we're getting through, now that we've scrolled down long enough, we're getting away from the Trump stories a little bit because we're scrolling far enough. And inside politics, look what anti-COVID commander impatient opinion, Trump, Wall Street Journal. All right. And then Southwest passenger accused of wearing lewd top is forced to cover up. Probably clickbait. They want you to see what that is. But look at this news. All right, Trump yard sign rigged with razor blades. Why is that even front page news? They found somebody who messed up on the Trump side, someone who's voting for Trump, and they messed up, and they probably want to make the whole campaign about that. Don't even bother, looking at that. That's one dude. It doesn't even represent everybody or even anybody beyond that one dude, right? Okay. And we got this, I got a little bit about caterpillars and Prince Charles. So I made this into a video. We're 1 minute and 14 seconds into that video. All right. How much stuff has been on there about coronavirus, Donald Trump, coronavirus, fear, 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 race bait, coronavirus, race bait, fear, fear, Donald Trump's bad, bad man. I mean, that's all it is, okay? So they learned this stuff in World War II. If you keep throwing this stuff at people, they're eventually going to believe it, all right? Trump suggests his COVID-19 infection came from Gold Star military families. All right, so you don't click on that. That's another Trump blaming military people. So that's really great. You know, you can imagine if you troll Facebook or if you get trolled on Facebook, any at all, some guy just reads the headline and he's like, well, he called people names and then he hated on the military families. I mean, just endless, okay? Yeah, both sides agree to no mask on the debate. Trump coughs repeatedly in interview amid questions on COVID test results. That's like 11 hours ago. All right. Newsweek on that one. Okay. 3 weeks with voters reveals a collapsing consensus in the Biden-Trump election race. You know, I'm not clicking on that. I'm not clicking on anything else with Trump's name on it anymore in the mainstream media, because it's going to be some sort of crazy spin. It's like when you read those, when you go to Snoops and they say, well, the guy didn't throw the brick at the guy. No, he didn't. And then you read the story and it's like, well, it didn't look like, but the brick did fly and it did come from his hand, but it's a mixture of truth. It's like, no, it's true, man. It's true. You just told it in a different light to make it false because obviously somebody's paying you or something. I mean, you can't be doing that many drugs. Come on, man. Get a drug test, man. That's what we need to say when we see that. You know, that's one of my favorite lines. Okay. High as a giraffe's ass. Trump's rambling. Hannity call torched on Twitter. Okay. Yeah, more stuff. Okay. If it's not negative about Trump, it is not in the news. Okay. All right, so we got 5 articles in a row, 6, 7. So there we go. Now we've got one. Wow, you know what? I thought something had happened here for a second because that's the longest we've gone. Trump's video prompts green screen speculation, online skepticism. Washington Post, another rag. Okay, all right. So inside, deceptions of Chris Watts, Gwyneth Paltrow. So. This is interesting. BuzzFeed, yeah, of course, they're going to have something about guys, you know. Not just politics. Okay. So this is, oh, there we go. Vox. Trump did his first TV interview since his COVID-19 diagnosis. It did not. Of course it didn't go well. You're covering it. It never goes well. He didn't do anything good. Of course not. He can't. It's impossible. Not with, you know, Vox reporting on it. It can. Okay. New U.S. coronavirus cases top 50,000 for the first time in 5 days. New restrictions recommended as Ontario sets on a new day record with more COVID cases. Look, all right, when you see something just over and over in the news like this, somebody is paying for something. I mean, that's not even like far stretch. I mean, it's too much. Somebody at this point is paying for this. There's a lot of money involved. Or it could be just as simple as the pharmaceutical companies want to get their vaccine through and they're allowed to advertise on TV. It was banned for a while because they were afraid of things like them controlling the media. And yeah, it could easily just be that. They want to sell their vaccine, which is really bad, by the way. I mean, when I say it just could be that, that's a bad thing. Okay. Los Angeles Times, opinion, President Trump won't interrupt at next week's debate because he won't be there. Yeah, because normally when you have a debate, you're supposed to discuss it with all parties and agree. The host, which hates his guts, can collaborate with Biden, which hates Trump's guts, and they decided they were going to do a remote campaign. So Trump's like, no, we're not doing a remote campaign. No, we're not doing that. We're going to be in the same room. You're supposed to get consent, okay? This is not, we decide you follow as the president. You're actually supposed to ask the president and then decide where the challenger, if they can agree. But that's not how we're doing it nowadays. No, that's out the window. Okay, Donald Trump just got another excuse if he loses the 2020 election. So, they're just, notice, I mean, there's still something missing from the media here. We're going to roll down through here a little bit more. Kamala Harris, they fact-checked her a little bit, way down the scroll, right? Most people never even get this far when they're scrolling the news on their phone, and that's one of the reasons we're not seeing much on Trump right now. But we'll see another one, don't worry. I mean, they can't. Trump calls Harris a monster. The Hill, which is media fact check, says they're the most accurate people in the world, yet they repeat hoaxes like the other ones. So, these fact checking places online, you can't trust them either. So, calls her a monster. Yeah, well, you know what? If you hide evidence on someone who's innocent, they're innocent, and you're taking their life from them through the judicial system, you might be a monster. Okay, that just might be true. I mean, and that's being nice. All right. Fact checking Pence Harris. Who won the Pence Harris debates? Experts. We already probably know what their verdict is. I mean, come on. Pence is related. He's attached to Trump, obviously. Okay. Donald Trump would repeal and replace Obamacare with a nothing burger. That's not true either. That's like an absolute lie. The medical thing is an issue very close to my heart, and we have a big problem in medicine with the protocols and the way patients are treated. They choose the most expensive ways to treat the patients, and Obamacare didn't address that because obviously the lobbyists can pay for anything they want. And the legislature can obviously choose whether or not to listen, but they listen if you pay enough money. They're like, no, we don't want any cost reduction, any transparency like what Trump brought in. He brought in medical pricing transparency where they actually had to compete for your business. They were the only industry that didn't have to do that, but they don't mention any of that. They just mention, it's like this. There's a $40,000 pill for Hep C, okay? And instead of asking, why are we paying $40,000 for this pill? And why is it only $700 in India? We're having a freaking debate over who should pay the $40,000. That's just wasteful and disrespectful, and it's a dishonest argument. So the medical thing really gets to me when they when they talk about medicine. They don't mention all the issues. But the same people who don't want you to know about all the issues are the ones paying for the advertising on all these channels. So where are all the arrests? Trump demands Barr lock up his foes. That's political, so you know where that Politico, so you know where that one's going. There's no reason to click on that. It's about Trump. It's going to be something about Trump being a mafia boss and somebody he said something bad to. Probably an unidentified source in there. Who knows? Latest poll from Trump's favorite pollster is very bad news for him. Then why all the worry? Why talk about the 25th Amendment? Nancy Pelosi was talking about the 25th Amendment and. Because Trump's incompetent. It's like, well, I guess they're going to use that on Biden is what people are saying now. And so we're scrolling down IRS mail backlog. Opinion. Joe Biden is the shutdown candidate. Now, this is what I wanted to talk about. This is what's missing from the freaking news. Any critical overview of Joe Biden is missing from the news, okay? This guy was the vice president for a guy that they just declassified information showing that they were illegally spying on the Trump campaign. Hillary's had information released showing that she was trying to derail any type of investigation into her mailbox, her mailbox situation where she was using her own private server at home. Look. Let's just look. I don't know what you think about Trump, but let's just be honest with each other for a few seconds. Let's cut the BS. You know that if they had anything on Trump, anything at all, okay, related to him spying on someone else's campaign, he would be toast. They'd be playing it 24/7. Those documents would be declassified, and once they were declassified, just like these documents are, they'd be in front of you like everywhere you went. All right? That's the way it is. Joe Biden is literally missing from the news. He's not even, we scroll through this thing. What was that, 100 articles, 3 minutes of continuous scrolling? No one scrolls that far. And now we have an article about Trump. Right below it, another one from Politico. An article about Biden, excuse me. And then right below that, one about Trump once again. Look, my opinion is Clearly, the media is biased. If you look at this and you don't realize that they're biased, and I don't know like how to reach you with this, but that's my opinion. I want to hear your opinion. Put your opinion in the spot below, and let's see what people think about this.